Hello and welcome to another episode of Creating Cultures that Outperform. I'm Frank Wander and I'm here with Terry Mays, an amazing co-host and certified culture engineer. So today we're talking about how strong relationships create a winning team. As you know, we like to talk about the science behind all of this. These are really the human factors of leadership, things that every leader should know and should use as tools. They should have these in their toolbox and they should perfect the use of them. And so Tara, what do you think? Let's start with a quote by Margaret Wheatley, and then we can try to prove whether it's true or not. So here's a quote by Margaret Wheatley. In organizations, real power and energy is generated through relationships. The patterns of relationships and the capacities to form them are more important than tasks, functions, roles, and positions. So that is quite an important statement. And I think without research to back it up, people might go, well, that's more important than the positions and the roles. And yeah, at the end of the day, it is everything. If you can create strong relationships, you get a winning team. And so, Tara, what do you think about that?
Yeah, it's so true. It's very counterintuitive, right? So you would not think that having strong relationships would outweigh the tasks themselves, but it's true. I've seen it happen on teams before when there are things that people need to get done, and you can have a team of people that do not work well together. They don't like each other. They don't get along well. If you give that set of tasks to them, it's going to be a nightmare to complete. It is absolutely going to be difficult for them to do even the simplest of tasks because they don't have relationship. They don't have the ability to work well with each other. And in some cases, they may not even like each other. So when that happens,
That happens.
your body and your brain automatically goes into this fight mode where you're constantly trying to protect yourself. So you expend all of your energy doing things to protect yourself, to cover for yourself, and to keep yourself safe. Whereas teams that are full of people that get along well, they have a good working relationship, they don't expend that extra energy trying to keep themselves safe because they already feel safe. And so as a result, the relationships build and they're able to get more things done because they trust each other. There's a foundational level of trust that happens when you're on a team with people where you feel like you have good working relationships.
Mm-hmm.
It without fail, when you trust the people that you work with, the stress levels go down and you're able to do a better job. You're able to get the simplest things done. People will pitch in for each other. People will do work for each other, things that are assigned to somebody else. Somebody will pick it up and say, hey, I'll do that to help us move faster. It is just a statement of fact, without a doubt.
There's no question about it, and the research is very, very clear on this. Actually, Margaret Wheatley was correct. I'm going to share something here quickly. Here is a Harvard Business Review article by Robert Huckman, Bradley Stats. They studied teams and found that there was a huge benefit to keeping teams intact. And it all came down to what they call familiarity. But familiarity is really relationships.
Yeah.
You could get this. Anybody could pull this up. It's out on Harvard Business Review. You can always get X number of articles free every month. Great resource. And so look, here, at a software services firm, a 50% increase in team familiarity was followed by a 19% decrease in defects and a 30% decrease in deviations from budget. On audit and consulting teams, high familiarity yielded a 10% improvement in performance as judged by clients. So, folks, this is science. The reality is this matters. And, Terry said a lot about, why this matters. Teams that, work well together, perform well because they know one another. It is familiarity. They know how to approach somebody. They build relationships so they're willing to help people. They don't mind politely interrupting and saying, hey, let me give you a different point of view on that. They know how to work with each other without offending people. They know what other people are good at and not good at. So the strengths and weaknesses on the team are clear. They fill in the voids. And they found, like Margaret Wheaton said, that those relationships matter more than the managers or anything, because the people find a way. When they really are an accountable team, they're having fun together. They're much more innovative, number one. And the research is very clear. If you have a great team that has a diversity of knowledge and ideas, you're going to get more innovation. But the
Absolutely.
diversity hurts you if you don't have a really good team, because those people have a harder time gelling and coming together. So
Yeah.
you need that strong foundation of people knowing one another. You know, if you look at the research, it's called familiarity. Sometimes they call it social cohesion. It's relationships, folks. It's about building really good relationships. You don't have to get fancy with it. You don't need any technical terms. And what should leaders be doing? They should be going out of their way to strengthen the relationships on the team. They should understand who's working well together, who isn't. If they can't get two people working well together, try another person on the team. Shift that person, break that pair up. Sometimes that's the best thing you can do. But take the team and strengthen relationships every day as much as you can. In this era of remote work, it matters more than ever. So it's a big deal. This is huge.
Yeah. This is
And the leaders.
one of those things, another one of those things, and we did a whole series on this, but things that you can do to increase engagement and productivity without spending money. This is one of those areas where you can get people working better together if you can have them taking breaks together, building relationship. To build a relationship costs nothing. It costs
Nothing.
absolutely nothing to take the time to sit and get to know people. When you get to know a person, it kind of diffuses that nervous energy you have around people when you don't really know them and you're trying to get to know them. They're trying to get to know you. You're kind of, tiptoeing around each other because
Yeah.
you want to be
Parsing
offensive.
every word to make
Yeah,
sure
there's this dance that you
someone.
do
Yeah.
when you're getting to know people that after you know them, you don't have to do all of those extra things because now, just like Frank and I know Frank knows me. We
Yep.
know the heart behind what we're doing. And if we're ever saying something where we disagree, we do it respectfully because we know each other. So there's an ease that comes in the work when you know the other person, and that fear of the unknown about how they're going to respond or what they're going to do kind of goes away because now you know that person. So you know how they're going to respond. Not that you know everything about them, but you have an idea of how they're going to respond. How, when you go to interact with them, because of time and you've worked with that person, you get consistency out of that person. You know exactly how they're going to respond. And the same is true for people in,
Right.
kind of those not so pleasant situations. The grouch on the team. Everybody knows the grouch on the team. And when you go talk to the grouch, you're going to get a grouch. So,
Yeah.
it's that same philosophy, just working in a positive way where when you're working with people that are helpful, that are kind and generous, then you know that they're going to do everything they can to make the team be successful. And when you bring a group of people together like that, the potential is off the charts because that group of people will gel together. They'll trust each other. They'll lean on each other. And we all know that you can do so many more things greater if you bring a group of people together than if you just try to go with one person. I think there's a proverb that says,
Yeah.
if you want to go far, go alone. But if you want to go fast, what is it? Do you know that one, Frank? If
Yeah,
you want
I
to
know
go,
that one. It might be if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to
go
go far,
alone.
go
Yeah.
together. Yeah.
If you want to go far, go together. That's it.
Which is really true. And that is what teamwork is. You want a culture where the leaders understand how to build teams, but you also want a culture that operates with norms that help reinforce good team behaviors, helping
Yes.
behaviors, sharing behaviors, supporting one another, accountability. These things matter. Great teams embrace these and work well together. They have fun together. Fun unlocks innovation and creativity. Teams that are having fun are more creative. So if you get a diverse team having a lot of fun, great. Companies talk about digital transformation. We're going to do this. They don't even have a great culture. They don't have great teams. They bring new people in, not understanding those new people have to form and build relationships. They don't have any institutional knowledge. And so, hey, they're a great player, but they're missing so many of the core elements that would make them productive in that environment. It's there's such a lack of understanding of the human side of business to this day. It still blows my mind, Tara. It just does. And there's so much information out there. There's 100 years of science you could dig into, or you could just tune into this channel. Quite frankly, we've covered so
Yep.
much of it. The reality is, people need to build human skills. This proves it time and again, and it's the key to winning is having a team culture where teams are strong, relationships are great, leaders know how to build them. That's it.
Yeah. It's sad that, this area of work has been so often overlooked and ignored as, these things don't matter, but the relationships on the team really do matter. People can become a stumbling block for you in a heartbeat if they don't agree with you or want to work with you, if they aren't the kind of people that want to cooperate.
Yeah.
We've all seen projects fail, not because it didn't have a great strategy, not because it didn't have the right resources, all because the resources weren't working together.
Oh, yeah. Projects fail because of people, not technology, period. Every time.
Absolutely.
I wrote a book on it. That's it.
You really do have to have the right people working together and the right kind of leaders that can bring out the best in their people. You have to have leaders that genuinely care about the people, that are looking to bring together a high performing team. And the way you get that high performing team is you've got to build some relationships. It's just not going to happen without it. There have been teams that I've been on that were phenomenal teams. I mean, some of the best teams where you can rely on your teammates everybody had their part to play, and we all did our parts very well. We were able to lean on each other and help each other out. Those were some of the best teams. Absolutely some of the best teams. And we worked the hardest. So we'd have to come in early or stay late or work weekends. But it all felt so rewarding because we were able to accomplish great goals at the end. Some of the worst teams that I've ever been on, the people didn't like each other. They didn't get along well. They didn't want to talk to each other.
Oh, yeah.
So you spend all of your time and energy trying to make people do just the basic things, just communicate with each other, literally sitting across the aisle or across the cube from somebody and refusing to talk to them or share information with them. It's too much stress and it's too hard when you're in a situation like that. So as a leader, you have to take control of the culture that's on that team and make sure that your people are working well together. And if you find that you have, maybe a person that's not willing to work with the rest, it may be time to find another location for that team member and bring in someone that can work together. Don't allow one person to derail the productivity of the whole team. And that's so often what we see. It's usually just one or two people that are literally derailing it for everybody because
actually it's science. They've studied it, and one rotten apple will decrease team productivity 50%.
Yeah.
I think it's 53%. I'd have to go look that study up, but it's fact. I mean, that's the reality of the situation. And that's the other thing leaders need to do is remove the toxicity from the environment. And that includes individual contributors and bad leaders.
Yep.
Gotta go.
Gotta go.
Hey, here's another study, by the way. If that wasn't enough, this is not a new one, but it hangs true. This is another study that was done in Harvard. You can look at it. It was a book on cockpit teamwork by a gentleman named Richard Hackman. And here, their studies proved that it was the strength of the team that made the airline safer. So research has demonstrated that in the great majority of crashes and lesser accidents, the aircraft is mechanically functional and crew members are well-trained and healthy. It's a team that goes on the fritz. So new teams in a cockpit who know how to work together, those teams are more likely to have a problem. Don't have to have an accident. They just have a problem with the flight or something. And so this is very, very well studied. You could go dig into it yourself. There are a lot of studies out there. I think these prove it. It's beyond a shadow of a doubt that teams that have strong relationships, including really good friendships, which is the strongest team you can have, real friends back each other up. They don't let the other people down. They want their friends to succeed. So they're all marching in the same direction towards success. This stuff really matters.
Absolutely. It does. And it seems insignificant, but it really is not. If you just think back on times when you've been on teams where you had poor performance or the team did not perform very highly, you can always go back to one or two things. And I guarantee you, relationships on the team is going to be one of them. How the team communicates with each other
Yeah.
without fail. For a bad team and a good team, you're going to see the differences. So just think about it and look at it from your own experience. You don't have to take our word for it. Frank is really good about finding the research.
Yeah.
And, we've kind of studied this and lived it for many, many years. Frank and I combined probably, close to 70, 80 years of IT experience, just
Scary.
it is scary how long, we've been in IT. So we've seen some things, but, we encourage you to really take a heart to what we're saying, really give it a good listen, because some of these things that seem like, oh, none of that really matters. Oh, nobody cares about that. Those are some of the things that have been the most impactful, the things that have brought the best outcomes when we began to
unbelievable.
focus on those things. And we've seen such tremendous good come out of it. So use this as an experiment, take some of these things that we've been sharing over the weeks and go back and listen to some of these series that we've done on belonging and the people unproductive.
People Unproductive is a really good one. The Belonging series is fantastic. We have a whole series on different research experiments and what they mean in the workplace, how you can apply it. You could always certainly go out and get this book, Transforming IT Culture. Talent matters. The human factors of productivity are real. And these are leadership tools that everybody should be using. Tune into these episodes. We're here literally every Wednesday, 3:00 Eastern time, we broadcast. And Terry and I always make the offer. If you have a question, you want to learn more, just reach out to Coach of People Productive. We're here to help you. We want you to learn this stuff. We make this all available. You don't have to do the research. We did the heavy lifting. We dug this stuff out. We found out how it all fits together, what the puzzle is. So you don't have to. You could just apply it. Try using it. And, the reality is the human factors are real. If you want to be a great leader in this 21st century and people are the most important tool in every company, then you need to understand how to apply these in the workplace. It's just that easy. Oh, and by the way, we didn't pick a topic for next week, but it's always a good one. So feel free to join us next week at 3:00 Eastern, and we will certainly be here.
Yes. Bye for now.
Bye for now.